Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome again to the NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Tournament, Seattle Regionals at Climate Pledge Arena. Reminders before we begin, please silence all cell phones. There is no flash photography and no video to be taken during the press conference. Video will be available afterwards on the NCAA Media Hub. We will take questions from the interview room first, and then we'll check the Zoom room. If you are in the Zoom room, please use the raise your hand function, and we will get to you. And a reminder to please state your name and affiliation prior to asking your question. Joining us for our first press conference is Virginia Tech head coach Kenny Brooks. Start with your opening statement, and then we'll open it up for questions.
Obviously, thrilled to be here still, but very, very happy for our kids, happy for this program, just to be able to accomplish the things we've accomplished all season long, but particularly of late. And the kids were able to celebrate, enjoy last night, and then kind of really real quickly had to shift our focus on a different opponent. So excited to be here, though. Very happy for the kids, and it's a wonderful opportunity for our program.
Go ahead, Mark.
Mark Berman in the Roanoke Times. In terms of the challenges of the Ohio State press, what do you think you need to do better against the press tomorrow than you did yesterday? And do you feel like you've seen enough pressing teams this year where it's not going to throw you too much?
Well, I mean, every game is a preparation for the next game and so forth. We play a lot of teams in the ACC who press, just probably not to the magnitude of what Ohio State does. Their commitment to the press is very thorough. I've been watching them all year long. Good friends with Kevin, and just marvel at what they've been able to do, sustain. It's kind of funny. People were kind of not ridiculing, but making a good point to tell us that we only played 6 yesterday. Our depth, they only played 7. And they're pressing. So it's a different animal. We're watching film. We're continuing to watch film. I think the one thing that gets overlooked, their press is really, really good, but their offense is good too. They run some really good actions, very similar to what we run, a lot of similarities. So we can't just lock in and hone in on just the press. Their offense is good too. We got to take away some things. But, yesterday we had, I think we had 18 turnovers. A lot of people want to jump on that. This day and age, 18 turnovers is not that bad. It's really not, especially how you're playing. And we want to be aggressive. Yeah, we turned it over a couple times, but we wouldn't. We shouldn't have. But that's basketball, And when you're playing teams like that, and some things are going to happen, we have to make sure that we limit our live ball turnovers. You just can't give them the basketball where at least 2 points, and then they come back and they press you again. It'd almost be more beneficial for us to throw it up into the stands so we can set our defense up, as opposed to giving them live ball turnovers.
Back here.
David de Guzman, WFXR-TV in Roanoke. Kenny, if memory serves me correctly, you faced Ohio State back in 2015 when you were the head coach at JMU. How do you think you've grown as a coach since then?
You know what it was? I did face them when I was at JMU, but we also faced them while I've been here. We played them in Florida at a tournament. We won that game. I think it was one of my first couple years here. Everything's different. Styles are extremely different. The last 2 times I played them, they didn't press. And all of a sudden, they're a pressing team, and they do it extremely well. So every game is different. The difference between, first couple teams and the JMU teams is that we have good players too. And so now we give ourselves an opportunity to win. But, like I said, good friends with Kevin, and we had opportunities to talk this summer. Ironically, me, him, and Jeff kind of sitting around and talking about some things, and all 3 of us have an opportunity to get to a Final Four berth. But so it's good. Our kids are ready. They played against top-level competition, and that's prepared us for moments like this.
Alexa Philpott, ESPN. Kenny, what did you see, or what have you seen from Cody McMahon and the way she's able to make such a big impact as a freshman, including even yesterday in the Sweet 16?
Yeah, she's well beyond her years. She's extremely talented. She's physically imposing. She's fearless, and she's talented. It's kind of funny. I have a 17-year-old daughter, and once a year I'll take her in the summertime and let her tag along with me on a trip, a recruiting trip. And one of these ones we happened to sit down and watch Cody, and she doesn't really know people's names, but she knows Cody McMahon's name, and we would watch them during the year, and she's like, "There's that Cody girl," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's that Cody girl. She's really good." And now all of a sudden we're facing her, but that's how much of an impact that she can have on, just a casual fan or anyone, and she's so imposing. But she's well beyond her years. We understand that, and she's going to be a handful. Don't think that we're going to shut her down, but we got to try to make things as difficult as possible for her.
Hey, Ben Pickman from The Athletic. Can you just, expand on your relationship with Kevin? When did you get to know him? What's kind of the origin of that friendship, and how's it grown?
Probably the times where we competed a little bit. I think we had a mutual respect for each other when I was at James Madison, and then even at when I came here at Virginia Tech. And we'll call each other, I don't know, maybe once, twice a year, but we also see each other on the road. I've always, stated I'm a big fan of his. I think the last time I actually corresponded with him was when they played Tennessee this year, ironically, and they beat Tennessee very handily. And I sent him a text, and I just told him how much fun it was to watch his team, unbeknownst to me that I'm going to be trying to scout against them to try to beat them. That's not a whole lot of fun anymore. But, just seeing each other, always rooting for each other, giving each other, any kind of advice we can. But, I've always admired him and what he's done. And our friendship has just really grown over the years.
Go back here and then over here.
Sabrina Merchant, The Athletic. When you think about the beginning of your team's current win streak, I think it was against Virginia in January, was there any particular kick in the pants that sort of inspired you, or a schematic change that you guys did, or you guys just sort of figured out how to play better together?
No, it was we were coming together, and we won a couple games. We've only lost 4 games all year, so it's not like we were down and out by any means at any stretch of the year. We were just really trying to figure ourselves out. But the turning point, we do have a turning point. I think we had 2 of them. When we got beat at Duke, the game before Virginia, they really manhandled us. They really put pressure on Georgia. They were extremely physical with her. They were extremely physical with Liz. And from that point on, we developed a mantra. It was like, okay, we have to be physical. And a lot of times when people say you got to be physical, they're talking about the defensive end. Be physical, be physical, be physical. But we took that to also mean we need to be physical on the offensive end. Duke pushed us around. We didn't get to our spots. They were pushing us off the ball. We were falling down. We were looking around. And I remember after that game, I didn't go into the locker room. I didn't yell. I just said, you know what? Don't let this make us go backwards. Let it kick us forward. We know what we have to do now. Kids came in, understood, what we needed to do to accomplish our goals. And so we really got on a run. But then we had a stretch, starting with NC State. And it was 5 games that were going to be against ranked opponents. It was NC State twice. It was Duke. It was North Carolina. And it was Florida State, who was top 25 at that time. And we went through that stretch, clean. I think we won every game by double digits with the exception of North Carolina, but that was a buzzer beater. And I thought, because we didn't have a mentality of, okay, if we can win 3 out of 5, we'll be in good position. It was like take them one at a time. And we focused on one game at a time, and we got through it. And I think that gave us a lot of confidence that if we just focus on the task at hand, we can beat anyone at any time. And that really propelled us to where we are now.
Matthew Walter with the next 6 of the 8 teams that are left in the Elite 8 are ACC or Big Ten teams. You guys obviously play the ACC Big Ten Challenge every year. That's going away in a couple of years. But just what about these 2 leagues has prepared your team and the other teams that are playing against each other to be in this position to play in the Elite 8?
Yeah, a lot of good teams, a lot of good players, a lot of good coaches. I'm going to miss the Big Ten Challenge. Our style is similar to the Big Ten. We play a style that's very similar to the Big Ten. We don't get out and we don't do a whole lot of pressing and try to get out in the passing lanes. We're going to play good defense, good solid defense, and then I love the offenses that people run in the Big Ten. And I think there's a lot of similarities, but when you get to this point in time, maybe some teams are an anomaly that they want to press and do a lot of different things at this juncture in the year because of fatigue factors. But a lot of the teams that are left, they're really solid on the defensive end and they're very efficient on the offensive end. And I think those are a lot of the teams that you see with the Big Ten. Some of us from the ACC, but it's just a lot of good teams and a lot of good players, and I think that's an equation to have some success.
David Cunningham, Tech Sideline. Kenny, you guys have, like Mark kind of mentioned earlier, you guys have seen a lot of teams that press, the Clemsons, the Miamis, the Louisvilles, the Dukes. How has your team grown and the ability to grow, to break the press as Taylor Soule has gotten more involved with that, and I mean, you've mentioned it before, the conversation you guys had after that Miami game, it seemed like everything kind of came more naturally to her in terms of helping you guys break that after that.
Yeah, when you're dealing with a press and a team who presses the majority of the game, it's all hands on deck. You can't just rely on one. But, George is phenomenal at getting through and breaking the presses, but it does wear you down. And so we've learned early. We've learned that we can't just rely on her to break the pressure because we need her to do so many other things. We need her to set up our offense. We need her to score. We need her to defend. And to ask her to, break the press solely by herself, that's just too much on her. And so we will do it by committee. She'll be the mainstay in breaking it. But Taylor Soule is going to have to be able to do it. And sometimes she's a runaway freight train, coming down the lane. But she's going to have to do it under control, and at least where she can set us up and get us into some offenses by breaking it with her athleticism. Kiana Traylor is going to have to be a little bit more involved with that. Kayla King is going to have to help. Elizabeth Kelly is going to have to be an outlet. We can't just rely on Georgia to do it all because that will wear her down. But the kids understand that. We've got a couple different things we're going to do, some tweaks that we're going to talk about today. But that's what you have to do in order to be successful against a team like Ohio State.
Hey, Coach, Doug Feinberg, DAP. A two-part question. The first one is, you said the team took a little bit of time to celebrate last night. Did you take a minute to soak in what you had accomplished by getting to the Elite Eight?
About 3 minutes, yeah. No, but it's one of my things this year is stop and smell the roses. I did, I really did. I actually took the time to answer I think all 272 text messages that I had. And the problem with answering 272 is that you probably get another 250 responses after you reply to them, and I don't really think people understand that we're on West Coast time. And, my phone at 5 o'clock in the morning is like going crazy for the double responses. But to answer your question, yes, I did take a little bit of time to reflect and to enjoy the moment.
And the second part is, there are a bunch of new teams in the Elite Eight. Either you or Ohio State's going to make the Final Four, and that's the first time for them in a long time, first time for you guys forever. What does it mean to see? Is there sort of a natural progression of the game, that there are new teams coming in, maybe it's a sign that the game is growing, that there's more teams out there that could do it?
To me, it means everything. I just finished watching San Diego State beat Creighton for an opportunity to go to the Final Four on the men's side. That's good for women. That's good for women's basketball because it's not just the same teams, going. There's a new excitement. What I'm proud of, our kids are students of the game. They love the game. They read everything. They know everything that you guys put out there. But with a caveat, they don't get mad. They don't get mad at the fact that somebody wrote, is this the next chapter of Tennessee versus UConn? They respect the history of it and what it has meant, but they love the opportunity to take that and not be mad about it, not mad motivated, but they're like, okay, we'll show you, but they're not going to tell you that they were mad about it. We'll just go on to the next thing. And I think that's the beauty, because these kids they didn't dream of playing for Tennessee or UConn. They dreamed of getting to the Final Four, the Elite Eight, the Final Four. And now they're accomplishing those goals, and I want them to relish in it. I want them to understand what they've accomplished for Virginia Tech, because I know the story behind UConn. They weren't UConn for a long time. When Gino first got there, they weren't UConn. They built it. So our kids are understanding the moment. They appreciate it. But I do think that it's wonderful for women's basketball. I think the evolution of the transfer portal is going to give parity to the sport. It's going to give teams who normally hadn't made it an opportunity to do it. So then I think the unpredictability is going to be really good for our sport.
Kenny, now that you're one win from the Final Four, what are you noticing today about the team's mentality, the team's mindset, now that you are just one win from the Final Four, and the fact that big bad UConn is not the team standing in your way?
You know what? They're the exact same. We came down for breakfast this morning. They got to walk around a little bit. They're enjoying the moment, but they're not in awe. They're not like, okay. We, as the kids will tell you, we were the 1 seed, okay? We were the 1 seed. And for people to be like, wow, you guys are here, it's almost like, okay, wow, you guys are still here. Yeah, we're supposed to be here. And that's what we accomplished all year long to get to this moment, to still be here. But they understand, they expect to be here. They expect to be here. They'll tell you real quick, we're a 1 seed. We're a 1 seed, so it's still business at hand. It doesn't matter if it was UConn in front of us, Ohio State, or the Lakers. We're going to come and we're going to lock in and we're going to focus, and because we know that we still have to play a great opponent to get to where we want to get to.
Now, just curious, since you know the JMU and UNC coaches so well, and they played Ohio State in this tournament, have you talked to them at all to get any kind of a scouting report or opinions from them?
Nope. No, I have not. I mean, obviously, it's quick turnaround, but I have the best staff in the country. I really do. And the way they work, they're prepared for moments like this. So we know our personnel and what it does, and so we haven't reached out and talked to them.
And that's all the time we have. Coach, thank you very much. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you, guys.
We'll have the student athletes from Virginia Tech in momentarily.